Today might be a little bit deep. Not like every course hasn't been deep. Everything has been more about my opinion on some things, and I don't want to force opinion. It's just I inspire for you guys to look for yourself. Remember, who was here for the first class, second class, third class, fourth class? It should be everybody because you're here right now. Perspective. So, we talked about, yesterday was choreography creation and the different outlook. So it's like more material for you guys to have the power to create and build your confidence, right? The second class we had perspective of elements and concept, characterizing your persona, that originality, what that means to you, that being a character doesn't mean you have to imitate something. You are a character already. Who you are is a character. So being you is a character, be you. You don't have to be anything else if it doesn't work. Then the first class, we talked about the 3A rules, whatever, and Yaya brought up a B. It was the recycle symbol, full course. It was absorb as much as you can because that's what our brains want to do. Our brains want to expand. That's how we are built. We want to grow and push. Just like when you go work out, you start off skinny, and you add mass and resistance, tension, and you build muscle mass with a healthy diet, meaning feeding healthy things to yourself that works for you. Therefore, you grow into a new version of you. Cool? Today, though, I want to talk on the subject of weaknesses and strength. Your weaknesses are what you want to acknowledge, know what those weaknesses are, and how to surpass them, or the way to work out of it. I can't give you all the answers. I can just give you a bunch of keys, and you got to figure out which keys work with which locks that you guys have. Open your own doors. But you have the power to do that. I'm going to sit down, too, because I can. It's my body. That was attractive. Strengths, and then, weaknesses, and then strengths. Also, is he here? Yeah! He's fighting for you guys today. Because he's probably feeling it. Look at his knee, man.
And my ankle, sorry.
It's all good.
How's that? Oh, sorry.
No, you good?
I'm sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
And scene. You good. I just barely describing on what the subject's going to be. So it's going to be about weaknesses, strengths, like I mentioned.
Sorry.
It's all good. We're all human. And then also the subject within the weaknesses about ego. What ego is. You guys done? Easy finish? No? You got it?
Yeah, I got it. Sorry.
And we're back. Yeah? So weaknesses and strength, and then what an ego is, and what, also on the subject of mental illness, not so much about the disorders of an illness, it's creating an illness in yourself by having a certain mindset, the negative things that can hold you back. I will call that an illness. It's something that can be cured, but a lot of us have inner strife and battles in our minds and in our souls that causes us not to grow, and that becomes like an infection, and that mood and attitude can spread, and we all know this through life, right? When you do something and somebody reacts to you, cause and effect. That's all it is. On the first note, I probably want to touch on ego, since it's a lighter note, not the main meat of this conversation. But does anybody know what an ego is? The difference? How about a positive ego? Do you guys know there's a positive ego and a negative ego? No? Yes? The first thing you said, yes. And then a negative ego?
Negative energy. Something
There's
that,
supposed to be two mics, but we can share.
like an ego that just causes and spreads negative energy.
Simple. But I'll give you the actual breakdown of a definition for those who like the term. And you can Google this because it's on Google. An ego is a noun. What do you know? a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Just self-awareness, whatever it is, right? That's the basis of it. He needed to boost his ego, as an example, right? Not that picture. The negative part, I changed the term, it is egotistical. Egotistical. Excessively conceited or absorbed in oneself, like she mentioned earlier. Self-centered. It's a selfish thing. Selfish reasons. They're not worried about anybody else, or they hold themselves above somebody as well. That's the negative energy that a lot of us has probably dealt with, which has affected our personalities and even our confidence. And I've heard this from a few of you guys too, like your confidence and your knowing your abilities in class of how fast you learn stuff or how slow or if someone's better than you. Those types of characters are also egos, and that's become suppressive. You suppress yourself, you suppress your growth. And also other people can suppress you too by looking at you a certain way or saying certain things or just being self-centered, and they don't even acknowledge you that you're there as another human next to them. Like it's, those kind of things hold us back. And we've all experienced this. I'm just gonna assume that you guys did that with me. So that's cool. You wanna add anything on that? Or is that cool? Oh yeah, and how I do this is you can feel free to jump in this tangents and whatever. How we talk. You still breaking down from class? He's like, my solo. On the subject of ego, just to close it out, I mentioned healthy ego and unhealthy, right? Ego healthy is confidence building is what I want to support right now in this session. And the negative part would just be condescending, when someone looks down or devalues you as a person, just as a value. No matter, not a monetary thing or how high in the rank you are or how low, it's just you as a person, human being, you have a value. And the same value should be that exchange. No one is any better or any lower than you as a human. But we all have different skill sets and experiences and things that we sacrifice in time to get to where we are in certain places, like us in different age ranges, different skill sets, different experiences. Evolution keeps going, even evolution in dance, even evolution of how we create methods for you guys to learn faster. We sustain the platform of how choreography is taught. We added the street feeling or technical feeling to a studio platform, which is now what urban choreography is described as now. And that's the platform and reason why kids or the new generation can learn so quick, is because we mastered that style of teaching. And now that's being implemented into the OGs. I see a lot of OGs now who normally teach you 1, 6, 7, 8, blah, 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 go. No, that's not it. You got to do it like this, go. They don't teach you so much as that platform, because in that era, you're not really being taught. It's more an environmental thing. You have to be there and learn and watch with your eyes and then kind of figure it out yourself. And that's how you push your mind. That's that part of resistance of building that muscle, which is that brain part. Now in this generation, it's so easy to learn and it's easy to look at that you don't even have to cook anymore. The analogy I used before was no one here knows how to make lasagna from scratch. But you can throw it in a microwave and push 3 numbers and cook it, and ding, it's ready in 30 minutes. You guys understand this analogy? You guys can, not saying you guys, but this generation can cook things quick and still look perfect. But they don't know the layers of what's in that lasagna. Why it took decades of time, why we move and feel certain ways and execute differently, is that we have, as dancers, layers of experience to make that product. And that product, an example, is lasagna. Yeah. What we want to do now is think for ourselves to be able to cook that. Okay, we have the final product. We know how to turn on the microwave and cook it really fast, but how can I reverse engineer what platform that I'm built on, because everything is so fast and consistent now. You don't even have time enough to catch up and breathe because everything's being forced at you on social media or the industry or whatnot. Everything's so fast paced, you have no time to learn anymore. You just kind of get flashed memory like the Men in Black thing. And it's there or gone. Like you lose yourself within that and then you get stressed out in yourself, and then you get so caught up in your mind that you either lose the passion or you forget kind of who you are, and you have to go back and start from the base again, which a lot of dancers do now. They try to go back to, you know what, I don't know my foundations anymore. Good thing is that it reintroduces the OGs or those of those technical bases to be reapplied into our community, to give them confidence and be able to teach the new generation. But it's also a bad thing that you don't want to waste all that time to start over again by losing yourself. That's something we would like to try to avoid at all times. Don't lose your essence, no matter what you do and change. Like my character, I will never change. I will never change. I've heard this all the time. You're still the same. Damn right. But my style has changed. My mentality on creation has changed. Like I said, I've gone from 1.0 to 3.0 to 1,800, 643,000.0. You know, some advanced number. But my essence is always the same. When I freestyle, even though if I get better or not, depends on my mentality. But who I am as a character in this, my essence, doesn't change. And I gave the reference of how Mr. Wiggles is, for those who've seen him. You feel hip hop from him. For those who weren't here in the other classes, I mentioned that no matter how many times the world spins and the days go by, you can feel his era by the way he just sits, talks, looks at you, chews his gum, does his graffiti, gets passionate about dance history, breaking it down, doing judge solos, demos. Like it's in there in him, so you feel that from him. And that's something that's personified that you can use and bring back into your own life as an example. We cool? It feels so, I don't know, quiet. Does anybody have anything to add on the subject of ego that they want to clarify or ask a question on this? You guys are good? I'm doing okay? Okay. I'll talk about the main weakness I've noticed at this camp, and it's the ability to store information. Like I said, we're in a time that's consistent and fast-paced, that you learn something through one ear and it goes right out the other. And you only be able to keep a percentage of what you learn because you have to worry about catching up or learning the next thing that's coming out, which turns out to be the same damn thing. There's nothing really new going on right now. Just the person's perspective and the way they innovate their craft to show a new way of listening or feeling it is what's appealing. But the whole craft of what dance movement is, there's nothing new. Therefore, I mentioned before, I'm not motivated by dance movement. It's how the person projects their energy and as who they are that motivates me. I mentioned this, and I don't mean this in a negative way. I can't really do Brian's style 100% at all, and I know this. It's not in my body. And
We're in the same crew.
Yes, but check it. Let me explain. That's why I knew he was going to say something. Because of how I can control my body, I can mimic what he's doing and when he's doing it. But it's not the same feeling and intention in my body of how he exerts his energy. Therefore, I cannot connect on that level. But I appreciate the craft and his mentality of creation. Same with this boy here. But when he does it, when I'm not a part of what he does, I absorb so much that what he does is that I love watching what he does and how he executes it. And that's why I love watching his craft no matter what. And now this boy too, and a few other people. But this is why I brought them, because one's from Europe, one's from the States, but they have a similarity in some way to me, but they came from two different sides. And I wanted you guys to know that no matter where you are, there's someone else just like you somewhere else. They have the same feelings as you. They have thought something that you have thought before, that you're not alone. You're not alone in this world. Someone has thought that or been through it. So it's good to try to figure this out and not be afraid to search for answers that people have already experienced. And that's what I do. If I don't know something, I'm going to go ask somebody that may have that experience, whether they know it or not. But if they don't know it, they may know something else that might connect me to something I never thought about before. His mentality of what he takes from, who are you? the, his rawness in his styles and also in his culture and his passion, which is also, I want to talk about how passionate he is with his family and that connection, how that pushes somebody as well, but also can break you down. And also where he's from, Houston. It's a mixture of a lot of things that creates a persona of you. We mentioned also too, like when he's around us, we see Brian, blah, 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 Puspos, right? That's one persona. When he's teaching you or when we teach you, that's another persona, but it is still us. And then when we perform, that's something else we turn on. We have to become an artist. That's an ego, and that's a healthy ego. And I'm not trying to like dance someone and say, hey, I'm better than you. It's like, I want you to see what I'm doing and feel what I'm doing and acknowledge it. Like, yo, this is work I'm putting into this. It's also self-fulfillment, but it's also okay to be acknowledged by someone and want that approval. Because some of us do this. We do it for approval, to be like, hey, look at me, I'm here, you know? It's something we live through all the time. And this bastard, if you watch his his stuff, keeps upgrading by the second. And he'll probably be able to explain a little bit more about, why don't you just explain a little bit more about how you think and process? And you can even talk about the boxing analogy too.
Hi, guys. First of all, well done for being here. I think it's really incredible that you want to like invest in growing your mindset. I feel like no matter how much you train, if the mindset isn't correct in the moments that you're training, and if the environment and just being smart about your training, if that's not correct, then I feel like you'll go down a path where it would just take you 10 times longer to progress. Also, if I talk too much, you can just tap on me and be like, okay, yeah, because I tend to like go like, shoo, and then like, shoo, and then like, shoo. Okay. So the question was how,
More so,
like how to consistently level up, like.
yeah, how you feel about your thought process on it. Because you even brought it like to the boxing.
Yeah.
How no matter the height,
Uh-huh.
anything, your intent still.
Well, like, hands up if it's the first time you're meeting me, I'm meeting you. First time, cool. Most of you, I thought so. Hi, guys. It's very nice to meet you guys. Yeah. Like, my journey with dance has been like a real roller coaster. I was just trying to like summarize it. Up until the age of 15, I did musical theater and gymnastics just as hobbies. My mum kind of pushed me to performing arts with my brothers. I didn't really take it seriously. I didn't really have like a super strong mindset. I was kind of like just doing it. Yeah, didn't know what I wanted to do in life. And then when I was 14, I joined a performing arts school and I started to train in ballet, contemporary, and jazz and tap inside school. And then so this is a good what I was telling you before. Like my mentality has always been like, if I see someone do something, then I would always have this mentality of like, oh, like I can do that too. I don't know why, it's just been ingrained in my soul. I don't know, because my brothers don't really have this. I have two brothers, 1 year older, 1 year younger. They don't really have this mentality, but I've always had this kind of like competitive edge. So I'm fortunate to have that. So what got me into hip hop and urban and Super Saiyan training mode is I saw my friend, he's called Jai, and he's a year younger than me, and I saw him do like a double pirouette and then like a double turn into splits, and then he'd come up and start doing hip hop. And then I looked at that and I was like, it's possible. I'm gonna do it too. So then I went into like super training mode and I started training like 14 to 16 hours a day, like no joke, for like 3-4 years because I saw that my friends in the hip hop company that I was a part of, I saw them do like house, popping, locking, and then choreo. And then when I saw that, I was thinking like, okay, like that's good, but can they trick? And then they could trick way better than me. And I was like, oh. So I saw that and I was like, okay, it's possible. I'm gonna do it. So yeah, and I think going back to what you said before, I feel really strongly about this, and I feel like it's kind of getting worse with like the effects of social media. Is that when what you see on social media is like the finished product, right? You see my choreography and you see like a finished product, yeah. But what you don't see or really think about is how many hours was put into this. Not just choreographing it, but the training required to produce something like that. So when I teach, like I say this to my students, I don't want you to think about you're learning something that I created in 2 hours. I want you to think about you're learning something that like I've been training properly for like 7-8 years. You're learning something like that took me 7-8 years to make, in a sense. So, and what I want to encourage is that it takes time. And Paradox said this really, really well in his class. I've been trying to find a way how to word what he said. He said in his class, you're not training, you're practicing. The training takes many more hours. And I really like that, you know. When you take a class, it's just practice. But the training that you're looking for, the kind of training that you really, you know, take a style and really put it into your body. For example, Glenn, I don't know if you guys know Glenn Hudson from the UK. His style, I trained with him for maybe 2-3 years, you know. And it took 2-3 years to, I mean, even more maybe, to really grasp that style. So, yeah, I just like, I want to encourage people to know that you just need to train. You need to put in the hours. And I started boxing this year, and it's been amazing. Yeah, it's been like really incredible, and it's the hardest thing that I've ever done. Like my coaches, they push me until I can't breathe anymore. I physically cannot really, guys, I cannot breathe or move. And then they're like, 100 more. You know, it's like that. That's the training that I'm doing. And in the moment, you feel like poo on the floor. In the moment, you feel like useless, weak, etc., etc., etc. But then the week after, when I teach a class and I feel so much fitter because of it, I'm thankful for those hard moments, for that training, for that push, for carrying on through the time where I didn't think was possible to push through, you know. And for me, I keep going back to boxing. Like I go every day when I'm in London because I suck, and I really like the challenge. Like again, it comes back to this natural mentality I have that if I suck at something, if I can't do something, I have to learn how to do it. I have to, like, I can't stop. I cannot stop going. I'm a bit scared. I might just try and become a professional boxer. I don't know. Let's see next year. Yeah. Dylan Mayoral boxing program at Fairplay. Bring your headgear. Footwork, yeah. But yeah, I don't know if that answers the question, but I could go on and on, but yeah.
Hi, my name is Brian, and I like to dance. Going off what Dylan said and what Lando said, and forgive me if I veer off, but yeah, I think in the social media era, everyone only sees the results, right? It's a result-based climate, and they don't ever see the process. And that's what. But the problem with social media is that anyone can be anything. You know what I'm saying? Anyone can make a piece of choreography and upload it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I think that's what the problem is, and what the bigger problem it goes into identity. Identity. I think everyone. The cool thing about like these camps and like with Lando and Dylan, and like what Lando was saying is like the way that we move is really not that different. There's nothing new, right? We're actually just showing you our ears and our music, and the way that we interpret music. I feel like that's what we're doing. But what we're also doing is just if you look at, I'm gonna use this analogy because I'm a nerd, but like I really do feel like when I look at like the flyers of these things, of these camps, it's like the Avengers, you know what I'm saying? Like superheroes. And they all have their different powers. You know what I'm saying? They all have their identities. But the problem is, it's a gift and a curse because now I think we ushered in like this dance revolution, and like dance is so accessible, anyone can do it, but now it's like, it's so oversaturated with the same thing, and I feel like what's lacking is the identity, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's why we stick out so much, is because, it's not because of our movement. I really do feel like it's just who we are as humans, you know what I'm saying? Like when you walk into like, I just started taking Dylan's class, but when I walk into Dylan's class, it's more than just learning choreography. It's learning about Dylan. And like things I learned from Dylan is that this is weird to say, that he's charming, that he's funny, you know what I'm saying? And he has a great way of for making you feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I've been taking this guy for forever. Same thing with Lando, right? You know, everyone knows Lando. He's freaking hood, but also, you know what I'm saying? And he's also super intelligent. You guys know, I do half of my class is stand-up comedy. You guys know that, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, there's more than just the choreography aspect, is identity. And I feel like that's what the newer generation, the young generation is lacking. It's just like, they're trying to just get to, you know, the result instead of the process. Because like, when you learn yourself, like, who's 18 and under? Raise your hand. Gee, that was way more. That's way more than I thought, right? Just with that being said, and like you guys are here, and I know because the stigma and like the pressure of like, I gotta get to the destination as fast as possible. I know that you guys are feeling that because of like everything is so digestible now. You know what I'm saying? But the 18 into like your mid-20s is like the years that you need to slow down. That's the years that you actually learn about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Those are the years that you learn about yourself, and then going into your craft and your art and your identity. Our identity is our dance and our art. My identity is in my movement. Lando's identity is in his movement, and Dylan's obviously is in his movement. And it's because we know, we've learned ourselves, and then we project that version of ourselves, right? So I always say, like, everyone's always saying, like, be yourself, but like, how can you be yourself if you still don't know who you are yet? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like don't rush that process. Really enjoy and take the ups and downs and just, you know what I'm saying? Like live life. I know it sucks because the internet is all in one scroll. Time goes, it's just like, whew, and then freak. Like, you know what I'm saying? You work your ass off for hours of doing a dance video, yeah? And what ends up happening? You upload it, maybe look at it for like 10 seconds, and then your video is swiped. You know what I'm saying? So work on yourself, you know what I'm saying? And obviously, train, practice accordingly, and yeah, just know yourself. That makes sense? Yeah, I just ended up doing a 5-minute solo, so I'm still in the solo mode. But yeah, new single out on Spotify, and no, I'm just kidding.
Shameless plug.
No, but what Dylan was saying is I think, because I met Dylan actually last year, and I've told him, because I'm emotional and I don't really connect with a lot of people, and I found a connection with Dylan. Maybe I'm not sure if it's he feels the same way, but but there's some. Yeah, it's when he said, I don't love sucking at something, but like there's something about like starting at square one that is so captivating. Like my singing journey, right? Like I know I know I'm not anybody. You know what I'm saying? But the journey of it, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to go through that journey and start from zero and accept and learn and then tell people, have people tell me I suck and all that stuff. And like, my best friends they're the best singers in the world. You know what I'm saying? And like we'll go to karaoke and they'll put on Boys to Men. And then freaking, I don't know why they give me the bridge, the last verse, but that's usually the freaking highest, right? And then they just like, all right, go, Brian. And then everyone's freaking amazing, and I'm like, yeah. And then like after the song ends, and it's like 79, you know what I'm saying, the score. And I'm just like, I was like, can I get the first verse next time? But we all just laugh at it, because I'm like, yo, I know I'm gonna get better. There's so much room for improvement. And that's something about that really entices me. And I feel like that's replenished me at 33 years old. That's replenished like my soul and my creativity. But I veered off there. But I just wanted to say that, I connect with Dylan on that.
Cool. And on both subjects that they brought up, to bring it back to this, the main topic is that it's okay to be weak. You need to have a weakness, otherwise there is no strength. Got it? Yeah. Acknowledge your weaknesses, but not as a negative. It's like, okay, I'm not really good at something, then I have effort to work towards something. That's a goal. And that's something you brought up, you said earlier too about, what did you say?
Yeah.
Executing goals.
It's also like
Goals to be able
the
to
environment, like at dance camps, right? There's a freaking 1,000 people in the room, right? But everyone, and I know that we select, some standouts, and I know that your metric system of like how you're doing in that class is like, I didn't get picked, or did I do good, or am I not good enough? I know that's in your head, but like you have to treat your mindset like tunnel vision. Like even though if you're in the back, you should feel like you're in the front. You know what I'm saying? And I think you should stop comparing. I think this journey is only for you. You know what I'm saying? It's no one next to you. It's just really just about you. So try not to compare. And yeah.
I just want to add something to that. So I'm going to stand up because I feel like I'm going to get passionate in a second. So, like class mentality. I was very fortunate enough to start dance in the kind of like, first of all, there wasn't Instagram video. And the environment that I was in, I trained like 3 or 4 years with no cameras in a room. Like, just think about that for a second. I was in school doing jazz, ballet, and contemporary every day with 0 cameras in the room. And then after school, I would go take class, Glenn's class, with 0 cameras in the room. And then I was also in Glenn's crew, Definitives, with 0 cameras in the room. And then on a Saturday, I train 8 hours foundation with 0 cameras in the room, and then on a Sunday I train with my crew, again, 0 cameras in the room. Now, I'm not saying that cameras are the problem. It's the mindset that having a camera in the room has created for some. Because I come from that environment, the camera doesn't affect me. Because, although actually, sometimes I have to remind myself, my mindset when I first started dancing, when I first stepped into a class is, I'm here to learn, I'm here to suck, I'm here to learn something new. I don't know what's gonna happen, but hopefully I'll get challenged and hopefully I'll learn something new, you know? I don't have to be good. I'm just going to try my best. And that's it, you know? And now that I'm like a teacher and like I'm taking a class and I might be taking, I don't know, a whacking class or an afro class or a dancehall class, which aren't really my main styles and styles that I might look really sucky at sometimes. I have to remind myself this is, you know, like, this is why I'm in class. This is my true mentality of class. So even if I get select and the camera's filming and I mess up and the video goes viral, 1 million views, I still need to keep that mentality with me. No, you know, I'm in class. I messed up. I'm in class. And I feel like there isn't this mentality in class. Now, I understand that there's other factors to take in. For example, when we break into groups and we go group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, and everyone goes to the back. Do you know what I'm talking about? Everyone goes to the back. Now, I understand that there's like the fear and anxiety factor to take in, and no one really wants to be messing up in front of everyone and looking lost. But what helps me with that, because I struggle with that too sometimes, is to go back to my mindset and say, no, you know what? Like, it's okay. Like, I'm just gonna try my best. And it's not about, I'm not trying to show how good I am in this class. It's just like, you know, groups are to see, support, appreciate each other. Maybe you see something you missed, vice versa, etc. So again, going back to what I said before, like mindset is super, super important. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
thank you, Dylan. But no, yeah, so, I mean, what he said, like, take for example, me, everyone that's been at Fair Play multiple years or since day one, you know I'm a class taker. And you know, if you went last year to Fair Play, raise your hand if you were at Fair Play last year. Were you at the showcase? They did a whole montage of me messing up in class. You know what I'm saying? And they asked me if that was okay, and I was like, yeah, man, like, because I'm not afraid to look stupid. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not afraid of making a mistake. And what do I do? I turn that mistake into freaking joy. You know what I'm saying? I made a moment for everyone. So, because I'm just saying this because a lot of you guys put pedestals on us, but we're students too. And I can for sure tell you that till this day, I know I can't take, sometimes I have my off days and I'll just black out and so forth. And that's okay, you know what I'm saying? So I was just telling you that story, so it'll make you feel better. Yeah. I mess up all the time.
Nah, we good, man.
Yo,
We good.
first freaking, I am, yeah. The first audition, the only audition I ever went to in my 33 years of life was Most Wanted. Most Wanted crew. What season was that? It was the year before. What crew won? So remember the season that we were on, Most Wanted? So we actually tried out for the season before, but we didn't make it. And actually, they were like, they lobbed it to us to where like, yo, just come audition, you'll make it. But I fucked that routine up so bad. Like, I'm probably the reason why we didn't make it that season. And like, and it was like a blessing in disguise too, cause like, cause then it was kind of like we were still trying to figure out how to dance. Like, it was a freaking John Ha piece. You know, he doesn't really dance. So I was like, so anyways, so it was a big learning curve for me. But yeah, so here's the punch. Here's the lesson, is that don't be afraid of mistakes, especially in the classroom. You guys heard me say this before. The classroom is probably the only place where you can make a mistake. Yeah, and no one would care. I've never seen anyone mess up and then someone goes, ah! Or like, oh, That doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? The classroom, only place. On the highway, not so much. You know what I'm saying? You know, flying a plane, not so much. You know what I'm saying? So I think the classroom is a perfect place to, to kind of like mess up and then like, oh, that's not how it's supposed to be, and then learn from it. Make sense? Yeah. And I know a lot of you, like, it's the first time here. It takes a while too. Class taking is almost really psychological. You have to stay persistent, right? Like if you remember like the moment, the first time. Well, I'm older now, but remember the first time like you were taught to write in cursive? Yeah. Like if you really think about that shit was hard. You know what I'm saying? So like the teacher will do it, right? And they'll put it on the projector, and then like now it's your turn, and it's like you were taught how to do it, but when it came to do it, it was different. It was like, oh, I can't. It was a struggle. Same thing, right? If our bodies were like the pens, right, and the language is dance, right? We're all saying the same thing, but we're just saying it differently. I totally went on a separate thingy there, but yeah. Yeah. He probably took it from me, but it's all good. Anyways, does that make sense? And again, this all goes to like how I know how the fast pace of just life is, and just gotta slow down. It's okay to take your time. Cool, we all do. Yeah, this is years, freaking years. And then like the people that do get that shot, like fast, to be honest, it's like I question him like, okay, let's see how long that goes.
Yeah. Real quick. I just wanted to touch a bit on like fear. So, like my whole life, I've really struggled with anxiety and anxiety attacks. It's been like a really big part of my life, and it's crazy because like when I first started dancing, that really helped me, and I had a lot of my confidence really grew, and by the time I finished high school, I was like feeling on top of the world. I was just so confident and ready and just so happy. And then I started to teach and travel around the world, and within a year and a half, I was in the worst place I've ever been. All that pressure, all that overthinking, all that negative thinking, subconsciously I wasn't aware of it, and it really brought me to a really low place, and my anxiety was the worst it's ever been before. And since then I've been like really healing, and it's crazy because like I want to share this because I feel like it's a real issue. Not even if you have like, even if you don't experience anxiety, fear, something that I've learned these past 2 years, like I've been doing a lot of work on myself and my anxiety and stuff like that, but it has gotten better, but I still have it. It's still like there. And I've been teaching for like 5-6 years, and I've taught hundreds of classes, and I still get anxiety when I teach, And so like what this made me really reflect. And I don't know if this quote exists. I don't know if someone else has said it before, but like this is something I've like created for myself. Like life and like things and goals, like it's not about living without fear, because if you have anxiety, you want to like push it away. You want to be like, why do I have anxiety? Like I want to teach without anxiety. I want to live without like, But it's not about living or doing things without fear and anxiety. It's about learning how to do it regardless of having. So I completely switched my mindset, and I was able to start doing stuff with my life, and I was able to execute my goals. So for example, since I started traveling and teaching the world, I've always wanted to do my own program, my own training camp, etc. Look at that plug. And last year I did my first edition, and it took me many years to build up this courage, and I did it even with the fear, you know, but my mentality this time was, okay, fear, come with me, let's go do this, you know? And it turned out okay. And then this year, like, goal after goal after goal, like fear after fear, like, you know, doing it all with it. So going back, fear is not necessarily a weakness. It can be turned into a strength, you know. But something that can be seen as a weakness, it can be like almost nullified to, it's just there, you know. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And same thing with being in class, you know. If you get a solo or whatever, or if you get select, like, oh man, like I don't want to be scared, like I want to be confident. No, like, okay, like I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it anyway, you know. I don't know. Yeah.
Cool. I touched on that. Oh, wait, wait. And he mentioned also about the fear thing of minimizing it. And I told you guys in the last few classes a few times that acknowledge that fear is always going to be a part of you, but minimizing it doesn't take over your well-being, your health of growth as well. That, okay, you're there and I see you, but you're not going to hold me back. You don't want that fear to look down at you as a big giant. You want to be able to look down at that fear and be like, I know you're there, and I know I'm going to see you at times and it's going to affect me, but I'm not going to let you hold me back. But you can never really get rid of it because you're always going to be fearful of something. That's just in our human nature. Another thing I wanted to lastly touch on the subject before we close it out in 20 minutes or so. Oh, we got a good time. It comes back to your support now. That if you don't have a strong backing, you can also fail. And what I wanted to bring up, which Brian can also attest to as well, and I'll share my version of it, is the backing of family support. When the older generation don't really understand the newer, of course, that's just how it works out. The generations keep advancing, and it advances so quick that the generation before can't grasp the idea of it because they have to worry about catering to you're the children, that your well-being is good and you're being taken care of, and that they got to work on finances and stability. It's a lot for a parent to do. So when they do stress you so much about doing the best and not to do the arts, is that they have meaning behind of why they push that. They may not be able to say it the right way to you because we're youthful and we're rebellious on how we take information from experience. We naturally come to a point in our maturity that we feel and act like we know everything. And that's the part of the ego I'm talking about that's unhealthy, is that yes, even if you do know something, you still don't know everything. And having that mentality, like, yes, I've mastered my body to a point where I can feel the way I would dance before I even execute it. So I can choreograph in my mind on the plane, get off, and execute it in class because I know my body. But I've had the support of my experience to back that. And back to family, in my instance, I've always proved, for those who might relate to me, no matter what I put my time into, I always showed that I put effort and made the fruit show. My product ended up becoming a fruit. It's something that was in soil. I watered it. I made sure, hey, this is what I'm doing. And if they don't understand it, I try to explain it. If not, you know what? I just got to work hard at it and see how it grows. And fortunately for enough, I find ways to figure out which fruit that grows into, and that they see that product and like, you know what? He's actually putting time into this. He's making it work. I don't understand it, but it's working for him, and he's happy. I feel accomplished about what I'm doing. Me doing this over and over created a security for my family. So no matter what I did that didn't make sense, from skateboarding to inline stuff, to jujitsu, to basketball sports, to art, sculpture, computer science, robotics, I've been around so much in congenial trades. That's just my nature to grasp as much as I can. But no matter what I did, I showed of myself that I wanted to prove that I can at least master or understand what I'm doing, and this is the product. Therefore, I never gave my family a chance to say otherwise, that I wouldn't be successful, because I made myself successful. Even when I wasn't successful, that I still gained the knowledge of what I was going to do, And if it didn't work, I take that knowledge and put it into another craft that would continue on my journey, which he mentioned earlier about looking forward about your journey thing. But that's my perspective on how my family supports. I don't give them the chance to tell me that I'm not going to make it or not. If they can't, if I'm running and they're trying to catch me, I don't let them try to catch me. But they're still going to run with me because they're my family. Family is always going to be family, but they're not always going to treat you as such. And I know everyone has different hardships, but someone who's more passionate about family is...
Hi, my name is Brian. I like to dance. But yeah, family is very important. Very, very important for me for many reasons, other than being the obvious that they're family. But one of them, lately, family has been more of like a destination for me because it's a little different for me because like Dylan, when he gets to operate back at home, in a vicinity where his family is. Lando's not too far away from his family. My family is in Texas, and where the dance opportunities are is in LA. So I've been in LA for the last 8 years. So that's why I say like my family is more of like a destination now because I become. Everyone thinks we have the coolest job, right? But man, it is the most difficult job to me. There's a shitload of sacrifice. Like now, because I'm so busy, trying to not give him a chance to, like what Lando said, that I can't make it or not be successful. While I'm busy doing that and paving the way for the art of dance, because we're all at the front lines and like we're still looked at on the bottom of the totem pole. So there's so many battles that I'm doing. It's caused me to be away from my family. Now I only have the opportunities to go home on holidays, and now it's kind of sad because like, damn, hold up. It's sad because although like I come home, I'm proud as fuck, I did it, I'm doing it. But now I've literally lost almost every connection with every member of my family. I become the stranger that comes home for holidays, like in the movies. Do you know what I'm saying? Like on those Christmas movies. There's always that one, like, the brother that went off for somewhere, and then he comes home, surprises, and like, the other members are like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? That shit's real. That is me now. I grew up with my cousins. They were my best friends. If you follow me on social media, do you know this Christmas stare picture I take? Yeah. Every year, we take that they're my best friends, right? And we still take that picture, and it's still dope. But I'm not gonna lie, like, the connection there is not as strong as before because like I'm just so busy in this life and because I'm still trying to figure it out. What we're doing is still not safe. You know what I'm saying? Like we still fly on planes and and a guy sitting next to me would be like, hey, what do you do? I dance for a living. And he's like, oh, like ballet? And it's like, and then you're like, then it's awkward for me because like I know I'm not hip hop, right? So now, but the easy answer is like, no, hip hop, right?
Yeah.
And then, so
Only one thing they know.
we're all battling, still trying to be accepted. It's where I can be like, hey, yeah, I'm an urban choreographer, and then be like, oh, cool, dope. You know what I'm saying? So those are the plights that are on my agenda, and that's been sacrificed through like my family. The only person I talk to now is my mom and dad, and yeah, I'm just so distant now. It's either I go home for Christmas or Thanksgiving, I get a plate of food, sit on the couch, and I'm just literally looking around the room, right? Or it's they treat me like some celebrity. They're my biggest fans also. So I don't get away from the pictures, technically. So I go home, and it's just like, oh, let me take a picture, and like, for some reason, my mom and dad have 9 brothers and sisters each. For some fucking reason. They all live in a 15-mile radius in Houston. Our Christmas parties, yeah. So it's like, right? And then what ends up happening is that, like, my where I'm from, it's very corporate. It's very 9 to 5. When I come home, in LA, we have we get to set our own schedules. We have a lot of freedom. When I go home, I'm like so excited to go home, get to see my, my friends and all that stuff. And then I forgot that that's real life. Like, I have to wait till they get off work. They have a 9 to 5. So I'm sitting there just like, oh man. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm being isolated. Oh, let me take a picture. Yo, go take a picture with your cousin. Go take a picture with your aunt, all your uncles, and all this stuff. Now, the people that I used to align with, like my brother and sister and my cousins, you can see how that looks. They're just like, oh God, Brian, LA, right? But I'm like, man, I'm genuinely just want to be home and be the Brian that you know, not the Brian Puspos.
How many times you come back more than often to not have them change? You see that?
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's why it's more difficult for me in my eyes, because like I know it's like I've been sent out in the army, and I know I have to do like, okay, and then I know I'm trying to find my way back type of thing. Now, on a more lighter note, family, like all my tattoos are on my family, or a symbol of my family, and like, so like my dad. And the reason like I work so hard, right? I'm doing music, clothes, dance, and I'm trying so hard, busting my ass off to always stay at a high level. It's because in my head, if I work hard enough, I know this is impossible too. If I work hard enough, like my dad has a bad heart. If I work hard enough, I have it in my head that I could buy him a new heart. Right? It's kind of silly, but not silly, but like far-fetched, right? And that's what this tattoo is for. Yeah, so family, that in a sense is like, it's what motivates me, right? Purpose. I said this in a podcast or something, but like people like to seek like balance. But I think, yeah, that's obvious, but I think you should prioritize like your purpose first, because if balance is like, if you think of the word balance, and if you think of like a representation of that of that, balance is what? You think of scale, right? And if you're seeking balance, is what? It's like the perfect balance. But your balance could easily sometimes just be broken by one. Right now it's, oh shit. But one thing that will never, for me, that's harder to break is your purpose. What is going to get you out of your bed to work, to bust your ass? It's not going to be your balance. It's going to be your purpose. Does that make sense? So like if you're thinking routine-based, like, oh, I have to distribute my time here. But what happens when you have a rough night, or, those days where you're just like, fuck, I have to go do this now. Then your balance is fucked, right? Your purpose will get you out of bed. My purpose is that when I was a kid, again, is my dad. And it's ironic because my dad, actually, I don't have a close relationship with my dad, right? But he means the world to me. And every time, so he's a nurse. All Filipinos are nurses. He would get up at 5 a.m. Oh yeah.
You can do it yourself now.
I was about to two-hand you. Like. Sorry, I'm still myself. Sorry. And my dad. He would wake up 5 a.m., right? Work all the way to 7 p.m. That's long. Being a nurse, long. Every day. Get home, freaking eat dinner, and then we have these wooden stairs in my house. And for some reason, they're really long. Like, I don't know, it's impractical. It's like, why is it so long? But I would see him, after dinner, he would like maybe watch like catch a basketball game, and then he would like take like the longest walk up the stairs and go to sleep and do that shit all over again. And that shit breaks my freaking heart. Like every time I would see him get up, just walk up those stairs, like, all right, here we go again, to provide for my family, So my purpose is that I want to buy them a house with no stairs. And yeah, and like I think when I was younger, I started reaping the benefits of like, oh, I make money dancing, young, spending my money on stupid shit and all that stuff. But now, like when you're older, thinking about families and stuff like that, like now we're in the state of like giving. You know what I'm saying? I think we're in an age of like giving. Like when you hit your like mid-30s, you're just like, man, I don't want to like. It's not how much I want to spend. It's like how much I want to give. So that's my purpose. It's like, all right, whenever I have a rough day or I'm jet lagged, I know I have something to do that will contribute to, pushing forward. Like, oh, stairs, right? So yeah, those are my. That's what the whole family thing means to me. Yeah. Thank you.
Also good. I know we're almost done. We're gonna close it in 5 minutes because Sean is next. But just to come back to this, I wanted you guys to realize, first and foremost, that you're not alone, and that if someone has the same feelings and aspects from you, no matter where, UK, San Diego, Houston, and no matter how much you get pressured by your support, that it's also meant for them to press you as well, to keep you on track, that you don't get lost at times, and that you're able to make something out of yourself and even bring it back. Like I'm the same way now, where I changed. My thing in dance is not to teach routine so much anymore. It's now this. Yes, I'm intelligent, just saying. Not in a cocky way, but I have a knack of retaining information and reformulating it, and then feeding it, not force feeding it, but handing it to different people who understand it in different ways, but still on the same subject. And when it comes to this, it's also sacrifice. You have to know that you can't be self-absorbed in everything you do and not think that you can't give a little bit as well. And that's what he meant also too when he gives back, is that yes, in our 20s we get lost in the hype and all that stuff, and it's meant to happen. You're meant to make your mistakes in your 20s and to learn and experience. And honestly, I feel like I didn't become an adult and understand what my goal in life was until I hit my 30s. Then it's like, oh my gosh, I just started life right now. Like my life starts now. Now that I'm able to be stable and I know who I am, I can focus on what the next steps are.
Yeah, we're still young.
But I'm also afraid that technically I'm at my half-life. I'm technically in my midlife crisis, if you think about it. Because as time goes by, people are not living as long. Therefore, my perspective of time now means so much more to me because it's not guaranteed to me. Most people die between, I keep hearing like the average age is like 74. That's not long. It's not long at all. It's not that far. For me, it's not that long. I mean, I'm 36. That's like reliving my life again. And if I think about it, that time is not that long. Therefore, what am I going to do with my time now? That fear is pushing me to make something positive out of it. Is what can I do? I can just do what I can, stabilize myself, and do what I do, and retain stuff, and then feed it back to the next generation, which will help our world continue. It's basically what you're doing. If you do too much things selfishly, it's just going to end there. Your legacy is gone. But if you touch at least one person about something, you just passed on a legacy of something, no matter how great or how small it is. And you're going to help someone else's fear become a confidence and strength. So when we're in these classes and someone is struggling, like I said, go next to them, fix the move, show them, hey, this is what I feel. And if they learn it and you see that they have caught it on just by you saying a few words, then pat on the back. Like, I acknowledge this, that you are also a teacher. You can help someone learn something that they're lacking. you have the knowledge. You may not be idolized as something, but that will mean something to that person. You're gonna help that fear. So with this, I can open it up for maybe 3 questions on any subject that we have talked about, and then we can close it out and I don't know what the party is tonight, but we'll see. Open live, is it the live band? Open mic, people singing. Yeah, I'm going to sleep, bro. Unless you're trying to get a 79 score. I've been practicing. And I can talk about like my family too. I'll talk about it another time of how it connects with how you can change your outlook and perspective. But yes. Ooh. I couldn't hear it.
I have a purpose.
What if you don't know exactly what if you...
And that goes with, yeah, and that's perfectly okay. Okay.
Hello? Okay. No, so I was asking, what if you don't know exactly what your purpose is, like dance-wise, and like how to maybe combine it with life if, say, all social media and like you also said, like results, like everyone want to see results. If there's no results, then what the fuck are you doing, you know?
Yeah.
So how do you have any advice other than, okay, obviously don't pay attention to it, but it's really difficult not to when everyone is like screaming it.
Yeah, so there's 2 things. If you guys don't have your purpose yet, and that is perfectly okay, because that goes on to what I said earlier. It's like, you just got to live your life, and like, it's okay to be confused and to not know what your contribution or what your place is, because eventually you will. Yeah, so maybe the answer's not now, you don't have the answers now, but what we're trying to teach you is like, just stay the course, and they will be answered. And then second, we actually might not even have the answers for today's social media climate, because we actually don't navigate through that. We're not from that generation. So I'm not sure what is applicable to that. So I think that's in itself, like, it's a hard one, because like no one has gone through it. We're all going through it. You know what I'm saying? Unless you want to.
I was gonna add another answer to that to build on is, do you at least know your reason of dancing? Not your purpose. Do you know the reason why you dance? As long as you have this, your purpose is always going to change depending on what appeals to you.
That is also true.
Whether if it's obtaining to be a choreographer or just a good dancer or a business or an organizer, those become purposes later on as you travel in your journey. But as long as you don't lose the reason of what you feel in dance and why you're dancing, that purpose doesn't necessarily need to be that big of a deal to you. It depends on how big of a value, how much you want to value it or not.
I know. And yeah, like, and maybe your contribution, maybe your place, maybe where you find your find your footing is like, maybe you actually realize, I actually don't want to be a dancer, right? But I still enjoy dance. But there's so many things, there's so many roles in the dance community that all involve dance. You know what I'm saying? And like, whether it's like organizing, or even like, maybe it's like filming dance. You know what I'm saying? There's different avenues in this dance world, and I think it's honestly, I'm excited for you, because, whether you become a choreographer or a backup dancer, or something that's even like serves a bigger purpose, that you provide dance for someone else, for other people, or fashion, or you know what I'm saying. I see you. Yeah, you got you got the vibes on. You know what I'm saying. So yeah, all those answers will be in due time.
Thank you.
Just like really quick example, just in my personal case. So I'll start from when I was 14. So before I went to the performing arts school, first I wanted to be a drummer. I was doing drumming back then, and it was something I was really passionate about at the time. So I was like, okay, I want to be a drummer. And then I wanted to be a dancer, like an industry dancer, dancing for artists and that kind of stuff. Then I wanted to be a choreographer. Then I wanted to be a teacher. And then I wanted to be a video gamer, a professional video gamer. And then I'm really good. And then I wanted to be top 1% in the world. Sorry. And then I wanted to be an organizer. And then I wanted to be a pro boxer, you know. And but all of these things, all of these changes, drummer. And I wanted to be a dancer because I joined that performing art school. Then I wanted to be a choreographer because I had the opportunity to choreograph for the school show. Then I wanted to be a teacher because I started to teach in my school, you know. So I feel like sometimes change can initiate a new purpose. And also, I've changed so much as a human this past 4 years, like completely 360. And like my mind has changed so much. And with that, my purpose and my motivation within different like sectors in life has changed too. So I know it's really scary to feel like you don't know what your purpose is, because my little brother, he's the same, 1 year younger than me. He's in university doing sports science, and he has no idea what he's doing. Like, I'm just being real. That's how he feels, and he feels a bit, you know, demotivated and things like that. But I just tell him to keep going. And the first thing that popped into my mind, sorry to stretch, but the first thing that popped into my mind when you asked that question, one of the first things was try and keep the productivity up, you know, because I feel like sometimes not knowing what you want to do or not knowing what your purpose is can sometimes feed to like a reason to not really do anything and wait for the purpose. And I feel like, me personally, I feel like that can be quite unhealthy and dangerous. And that's why I explained about my journey, because I went out and did something. I went out and was a part of new things and tried new things. And that's when like my purpose kind of redirected. So stay productive and stay open, and you'll be fine. It's going to be fine. It's all right. It's all good. Yeah.
Yep. Like my song?
Yeah, it's just a plan B that I wanted to remind you.
What?
Plan B. You wanted to tell?
Yeah, I mean, he actually talked a bit about it towards her, about,
Yeah.
and I can say it in a different way, of having a backup plan with your craft, that don't just invest yourself in so much of one thing without a backup plan. And that's what the plan B she meant, because we talked one evening. But he said, again, if you don't know what your purpose is and your craft starts to fail, have something that supports it along with it. So he said fashion and dance. Fashion and videography works. Fashion and media, dance and media, dance and music, organizing and dance, branding and dance, like something that supports your craft as a backup plan in case that your original goal doesn't work. You never know how it's gonna go. It's a risk factor. Me jumping into what we do now was a risk. I was working at Apple as a technician, and Apple computers. Not a bad job to have for the rest of my life, at that time. But I took the risk of something that I wanted to experience, that I had passion about, and that was people. I took the opportunity, use dance to travel and to see many countries as possible, over 60 countries now, that I've got to experience and learn different cultures, and created a new family around the world. And that broadened my mind and my experience, it had expanded. So what she had mentioned, I hope just to remind, like she reminded me, is that to have a backup plan, just to remind again, have a backup plan with your original plan. So if you do tend to fail, that you're not left with nothing. And then you end up back at your parents' house working 7 Starbucks shifts. And being unhappy, and then you just become bitter about everything, and then it happens to a lot of people. So I'm just saying, be smart about what's going on, because when you feel like you want to be a choreographer or a dancer, look how many of you there are right now. Everyone wants this also. And you're at an age and era where it's accessible. It's on a phone now. It's on a device. It's in the cloud. It's in the cloud digital whatever. It's around and consistent, so it's easy to become famous, whatever that means, which I'll talk about later. But plan it out, have a backup plan, and treat yourself as a brand. Why should I buy you when I know what this is about? Why should I buy a generic bag of chips when I know what Doritos is, even though if I've never tasted it? It's just the most famous brand. How can you sell yourself as a product to be just as important, even with more value or more nutritional aspects than Doritos? Something that's already been established. It's that having this mindset of branding yourself will actually help what goal you're trying to obtain. That you don't lose who you are when you try to grow into something or pitch yourself as something or explain yourself to someone as something. Just even how to explain who you are to someone should be knowledge that you're able to say to somebody. It's like, well, this is what I can offer, and this is what I do. It's fine. If someone doesn't want to buy it, no problem. Go to the next door to door. Like, don't give up, because we've all said this before, and we've been told the same thing before. You get 3 times more no's than you will get yeses. Or 5 times, or 10 times, or never. You'll never get a yes, but you always get no's. But don't quit it. Just be smart about it. Cool? All right, so I'll touch more on stuff next time after the showcase. We'll hopefully be able to show you who we are on stage as artists, not just as teachers. It's a different experience when we get to perform, So we hope that we get you guys the energy and enjoy the rest of the day. And then I'll be here for a little bit too if you guys have questions that we didn't get to ask, yeah?